Hey guys, welcome back. I'm glad to be back. So if you've been following my Instagram, you know that I went on a little bit of family vacay. I took my son and my wife, and we went to the great state of New Hampshire. We also got to visit the White Mountains, or the I think they call it Washington Mountain. In any case, if you haven't been up to the great state of New Hampshire, it's a very mountainous region. It's great for outdoorsmen. I'm sure it's great for hunting. In the wintertime, they do a lot of skiing and snowmobiling. In the summertime, it's a lot of hiking and camping. So if you're an outdoorsman, it's great. Also, the lake is there, so Lake Winnipesaukee. We got to visit the lake. And a lot of great outdoor stuff, and I highly recommend it. If you are looking for a vacation spot, New Hampshire is not bad. Great place to go. The only thing I can complain about is the black flies and mosquitoes, but we got that everywhere here in the Northeast. So, and I'll get into that in a second. But I should say that I did go up to Mount Washington. That's about 6,000 something feet above sea level. I was with the family, so we didn't wind up hiking. We wound up taking the cog. And if you don't know what the cog is, look it up. It's a train that goes from the base all the way up to 6,000 feet. There's about 3 weather systems up there, so it's tumultuous kind of weather. So sometimes you get a view, sometimes you don't. We didn't get a view. You can get up to 200 miles an hour winds up there. So I'm glad I actually didn't hike with my family. We just went up for an hour and came back down. I was able to do 2 solo hikes. One was Gunstock Mountain with the Belknap Loop. So what's cool about New Hampshire is that they have all these mountains, and they're so close together that you can actually travel the ridge line to go from one summit to the next, and that's what I wound up doing. On day 1, I did the Belknap Loop, and then on day 2, I did I think it's called the Morgan Loop, and I'll do that in a separate video. In any case, this is the stuff that I brought. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's a lot of stuff and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, listen, I get it. I understand. But I'm doing a solo hike. I didn't have anybody with me. I should say that it is dog friendly. So if you want somebody to accompany you, the dogs are fine. I didn't run into anybody on the trail that I thought was dangerous. Most people that you're going to run into are the locals, which they live there. That's their backyard, and they do it every summer, and they love it. And or like, you know, just hikers, like for like myself, people that come in on vacation and they're doing that. Most of the people I ran into, they were always in pairs, which is smart. Ideally, I did not have anybody, like I said, because I left my family down at the beach. They didn't feel like, well, actually my son's too young anyway. So, in any case, some of the things that I brought that were extremely important, let me just get a close shot of that so you know. I also used paraffin, something like that. In any case, that's for, it's for clothes only. And I sprayed that on my clothes the night before, and then when I was in the bush, I used this. The mosquitoes are brutal in the summertime. Some maps, like I said, this was just a travel map. It's not really that good. It just tells you where the things are, and then you have to actually get real maps, and that's what I did, and it helped out a lot. This is also a nice book. Best loops, New Hampshire, White Mountains, and the Maine coast. And if you didn't know, Maine is directly above it or to the side of it, so you could literally travel from New Hampshire to Maine in 1 hour. That's how far we travel. But same thing you saw before. You know, my map kit, my map case. I did have a hat, a shema. This isn't the exact shema. The other one's getting washed. Bear spray, which was not necessary, but I like to have it. The knife that I did choose to bring is my Mark I Scout. This is a fixed blade knife. It is a little bit heavy for the trail, but what I did is I didn't want anything too much hanging around my waist, so I just put it in my pack, and if I needed a fixed blade knife, I can use it. I did take the Life Straw, which I think I'm going to change to the smaller one, because during the first hike, what you'll see is I was using my Maxpedition Vulture 2, which is actually a really good pack, because what I like about it is it's big enough to put all this stuff in and it leaves some room. And what I had done is, instead of using a camelback like I did on the second trek, what I did was I put, you know, like the 58 ounce or whatever it is, 40 ounce water bottles in here. I put 2 of them in there and that was sufficient. However, the Life Straw in this format, not the mini, will not fit inside those bottles. So I kind of screwed myself. I wound up didn't needing to use it or didn't have to use it. There was plenty of water available if I had a drink from the stream, and I don't know if it's safe to drink, but that's what I used. And the bottled water that I got from the store was fine. Okay, I will say on the Vulture 2, the only thing I really didn't like was that in the back of the Vulture 2, what you have is just a padded type of setup, and what happens is you sweat, and when you sweat all this water drips down to the crack of your butt, and that's really not comfortable. Everything else was very comfortable, so I really can't complain about that. And this is a heavy pack. It's mostly made for military, but being Maxim Edition, it's tough, it's rugged, and you can use it pretty much anywhere. Couple other items that I took were, you know, Perel, lighter, headlamp. Alright, I always carry my medical kit, some cover if I needed to, so I had some paracord with some carabiners. These are not climbing rated, but if I needed to set up a quickie shelter, like I said, I'm going solo hike, I got a poncho, and I also got an all-weather olive green blanket. I don't like carrying those little tiny crappy blankets. I like to carry something that I could use. The knife I carried on my person was the Spyderco, I think it's Manix 2. I've been EDCing this knife for a while, and it's just perfect for my size hand. And I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't you carry the fixed blade knife, which I did, but it's because I make knives for hunting and going out into the field. However, I don't think carrying this around town would probably attract a little bit too much attention, because I started in a hotel, and then when I get to the field I could always clip this on later, but this was always on my person, and I don't make folding knives, so it kind of worked out. I had this in my pack as well, my Leatherman Wave, an extra spare flashlight, which is the Streamlight Stylus Pro, pretty cool. Some writing material. This was my survival kit, and I know a lot of people are going to laugh, but this is it. I have some tape, fire starter, candle, whistle, lighter, matches, fire steel, and a signal mirror. That's it. So it's nice and small and compact. I put it in that waterproof bag, and I'm good to go. I think I said medical kit. You guys have seen that. Some wipes in case you gotta go. And as far as my navigation goes, I do have a compass. And I do have a really nice Garmin. This Garmin is the Oregon 650T. You could also, it's touch face, so it's not like the old version where you have to use the buttons. It's touch face. It does have a camera. This worked excellent, and I didn't use it too much because I was using an app on my phone, and I'll get to that in a second. I did use my Spot GPS device. I will say that I do have to pay on a monthly charge, which I'm really not a big fan of. But what's cool about this is that you can set it up to send to your Facebook account. You can send it to a couple different people. And what I found out was, normally when I checked in, say I'm at the trailhead and this is my location, those are the only two buttons I used. This is the SOS in case you get in trouble, and this is I'm in trouble but I don't really need the Forest Service yet, just come and get me. So those two things right there are covered, obviously. It does run on a rechargeable battery, so you can charge it up, obviously, before you go out into the field. And what I found about this is, it's weird because there was not a cellular service. So when I hit the button to tell people where I was, the telephone numbers that I put inside the system did not get a reply. So the reply was, hey, listen, I'm on the, it should come up as a text message, and the text message didn't work. Now, I might be doing something wrong, but the people that I set up with email or the Facebook account worked. You could see it on the Facebook. It just comes up with this symbol. It says the message. But anybody that was supposed to receive a text message did not work because there was no cellular service. So that's something you really have to know in case I got in trouble. Only the people checking Facebook and emails would probably be able to help me. That's going to be changed, so I'm going to fix that. This is my spare battery that I used. All right, this is the Anchor battery. Pretty good. Very small, lightweight. I could get a couple charges out of that for my cell phone. And what I liked about this case is that, of course, everything comes with a clip. All right, everything, because I want to make sure I can secure this. Lastly, this is my 511 hideaway gun system. All right, so what you can do is you can put a firearm in here, and this goes all the way this way and this way, and it does have a fast type of latch release, so if I needed to get to my gun I could. And this is spare compartments for extra ammunition or whatever you need it for, and it is a fanny pack style. Now I know a lot of people are going to make fun of me for wearing a fanny pack. The people that I saw up there, if they did have a firearm on them, I was not able to see it. I don't think anybody really carries a firearm when they're hiking, mostly because of the weight. I did have bear spray, but I know bear spray doesn't always work. Again, like I said, I'm solo hiking, so I am completely dependent on myself. Okay, so whatever I carry with me is what I carry out. That's it. As far as food goes, I had plenty of beef jerky, plenty of power bars, protein bars. I had a Monster. I was a big fan. I love the Java Monster. When you get to the summit, sometimes you're a little peaked, and then what I do is I take a rest, take about 30 minutes, rehydrate. If there's a water fountain, I'll use that, or a hose. Speaking of which, the off-spray hydraulic system, I'll go into that real quick. On the hike, the second hike I used was this Manta 28. And the Manta 28 is just about the right size. It has these little pockets on the side. I think I did a review on this. You can put a helmet on here, so if you're a biker or a mountain biker, you can use that. The space in there isn't too big, but it's enough to put all the goodies in there you need. And then on top, you can put the water bladder. Okay, the water bladder goes right in the back, which is nice. What's outstanding about this pack is the fact that it has like this rubber, or I want to say like bumper system. And because it's mesh, when my back sat on it, the water and sweat did not drip down. So it was great. It kept my back nice and dry. The waist belts and everything, the only complaint I would have is that they're very, very thin. They're probably about an inch thin. Not a big deal. The side pouches do come with these little key pockets. I wouldn't even use them, because if you put something in them and then you tighten and cinch it, what happens here is that it's just going to keep rubbing against your side, and it's uncomfortable. These little straps or lashings were great, because that's where I put my water bladder. And I can say on the second hike, when I went to do my second hike, what had happened was the water bladder was awesome, because I filled it up with 3 liters, and by the time I was done with the hike, I still had 1 liter left. And I just kept sipping on the bite valve. That's all it was, and this thing worked awesome. So I highly recommend them products. It's an Osprey 28. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is how I navigated. Now I know a lot of people, I have a Garmin GPS, I have the maps, I have everything in this little tiny pack. But what I wound up using was my cell phone. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, how to use your cell phone. It's very, very simple. Let me just find it for you. There's this thing here, oops, sorry. There's this thing here called All Trails. I don't know if you could see that right there. But you see the All Trails? So if you click on All Trails, you can set up your preferences, alright? There's my profile. There's my history of all my treks from Bear Mountain, Buck Mountain, Mount Morgan. You can record your trek. You can do plans. So what I had done is, this is the first one that I did, and these are all provided. This is a free app that you can get, and I'll put the information down below. But it actually tells you, okay, it's in Guilford, New Hampshire, and if you need driving directions, you hit the driving directions, it'll take you right to the trailhead, so that's awesome. It tells you the Belknap/Gunstop Loop Trail is a 6-mile moderately trafficked trail loop located near Guilford, New Hampshire, that features a river and is rated as difficult. The trail offers a number of activity options and is accessible all year round. Dogs are also available to use for the trail, must be kept on a leash, which by the way nobody ever does, but that's okay as long as they don't bite. And then you could view the full map, and then when you view the full map, it actually tells you how to do it. So you start here, this is your trailhead, alright, and it tells you, you scroll in, And then all you do is when you get there, you can download the maps as well. You can print them out. And these are all the other people that put their information. So I did a little blurb on it. Jolie Etheridge did one, Sarah H. And then they posted all their stuff. So if you're like a social media type person, it worked great. This one was the Percival Morgan Loop, which was the next one I did the next day. That was in Center Sandwich, New Hampshire, and this is a more moderate, but again, you can take a look at the loop itself. So excellent, I highly recommend it. Again, it's called All Trails, and you can get that anywhere. So what's cool about that is if I was on a trail and I needed to charge up my phone, I would go to the summit and then I would charge up my phone with my battery, and then on the way down I had more than enough power to get back. And what's also great is I also had a backup, so I always did a waypoint with that, so between my cell phone and my GPS I was fine. Now all the trail markers, you don't even have to worry about it. The trail markers were there. The problem is that a lot of these trails break off. So if you are someone that gets easily confused, or you're not really used to hiking, the same color trail marker, like a yellow, can go 3 different ways, and that's where you need your map. That's where you need your compass or some type of navigation. I will say it was an awesome experience. I highly recommend it, and I most definitely would do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post 2 videos without me talking, because I think I've done enough. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I certainly enjoyed New Hampshire. It was a great hiking experience. Stay tuned for the videos. Alright guys, thank you very much. If you're interested in an awesome, excellent handmade blade, please go to 3riverblades.com. Thanks.